Let's go a little deeper into what this range constructor is and what it actually means. So this is a new piece of terminology, constructor, and it is a little confusing. So there are many different constructors, and that's why this whole module is called ranges and constructors. So we're going to see constructors for all different types of objects. So a constructor, what it really is something that literally constructs new objects. So it just creates new objects. So again, I think it might be better to look at a real world example. So if you think about a lawnmower factory, right? Just some building somewhere, it creates new physical lawnmowers. The factory itself is not a lawnmower, but it constructs, right? There are people, there are machines that are producing new lawnmowers. And this factory can create any kind of, or many different kinds of lawnmowers, many thousands or millions of different individual lawnmowers. So a constructor is very similar to a factory that just creates new objects. In this case, the range constructor literally just creates new range objects. It can create a range from 0 to 10. It can create a range from 50 to 100. It can create a range from 100 to 200 by 3. So this one range constructor creates many different types of ranges. Just like a lawnmower factory, one lawnmower factory can create many different types of lawnmowers. So I know the syntax looks like a function. We talked about functions before, like the len function, where we can take the length of a string. When using the range constructor, notice it looks like a function, but this range constructor only produces range objects. That's all it creates. So we can see that if we execute this, we will get back a range object. Maybe we can just save them over here to variable names and create many different ranges. So we'll say maybe one from 100 to 500 going by 50. R3 will make maybe this one simple. We'll just say range from 0 to 5 like this. So this one constructor creates all these different ranges. We've created 3 ranges with it. So we can think about it as a factory that just produces range objects. So it's one object, really a constructor, and it produces many different individual tangible objects. Just like that lawnmower factory, there's one lawnmower factory, but it can create many different kinds of new lawnmower physical objects. Okay, so I know it looks like a function, but we're going to be calling it a constructor. So with range objects, you have to use the constructor. Now for these other objects, other types of objects we've talked about, booleans, integers, floats, complex strings, and lists, they actually do have constructors. We have just yet to see them. We will cover them later in this module. But instead of using their constructor, we've created them with like characters on our keyboard. So for booleans, you don't have to use the constructor. You can simply type out true or false. For integers, you can just type in the integer. This literally constructs an integer. We don't really say it as a constructor, but typing in, digits on our keyboard creates integers. Just like floats are created with a decimal point, complex like this. Strings are created with quotation marks or double quotes or triple quotes. So you can sort of think of these as a constructor, but we don't really call them that. But that's how we create them. And then lists have these square brackets with their values separated by commas. So all of the previous types that we've talked about can be created with just certain characters from our keyboard. They also have constructors, and we will learn about how to create them using their constructors later on. But the range object is the first object that we've come across where you have to use its constructor. There's no special way of creating it with your keyboard. This is the only way to create them.